Hi everyone and welcome to BA Cloud. As a developer, DevOps or automation engineer, do you find yourself spending a significant amount of time searching the internet to resolve your daily challenges? How much time do you spend searching for a approved answer on Stack Overflow or GitHub? So ladies and gentlemen, no more. Get ready to level up your coding game because today I have something truly game-changing to share with you. Let's meet your AI pair programmer, GitHub Copilot. That's right, GitHub Copilot is here to revolutionize the way you write code. It's like having your very own AI programming assistant right at your fingertips. Whether you're a seasoned developer or just starting your coding journey, GitHub Copilot has got your back. It understands the context of your code and can seamlessly generate accurate, high-quality code snippets right within your favorite IDE or text editor. GitHub Copilot supports VS Code, Visual Studio, NeoVim, and JetBrains IDEs. Powered by incredible OpenAI codecs, GitHub Copilot has been trained on millions of lines of code from public repositories. It understands programming concepts, best practices, and even the tricks of the trade. You can communicate with GitHub Copilot using natural language comments. Just describe what you want to write, what you want to code, and like a magic, GitHub Copilot will translate your words and provide you with the perfect code to bring your vision to life. GitHub Copilot can tackle a bug, explain the code, or even change your code from one language to another. Today we are going to create two sample services, one with Python Flask and the second one with Node.js, to demonstrate the power of GitHub Copilot. So let's start.
First, we need to create a project folders. I will create the main folder for the entire project. Now let's create a folder for our user's Python Flask app. To begin, I will access VS Code Insiders from the main project folder. This version includes the most up-to-date features. However, you may use standard version of VS Code or any other supported IDEs. Next, I will open the extension tab. To begin using GitHub Copilot in its chat feature, we must install two plugins: GitHub Copilot and GitHub Copilot Chat. After the plugin installation, we must log into our GitHub account. I already connected to my account. Now create a new app.py file for our application. Open a GitHub Copilot Chat from the left sidebar in your VS Code editor. Let's begin with a prompt. I will describe in natural language what my app aims to accomplish. Create a Flask REST application with built-in data of users. I will mention user ID, username, user email. With CRUD operations that listen on port 8000. And let's give it a try. Looks good. We have some instructions from GitHub Copilot. Let's overview. Import Flask and create an instance of the Flask app, define a list of users, define routes, implement a logic, run the app on port 8000. The code looks good. We have all the CRUD operations we wanted. Press the inserted cursor button to insert the suggestion into my app.py file. Seems like we don't have enough comments in my code, so let's ask Copilot to add some comments. Let's prompt: add comments to my code. Copilot generates a new code with the comments for each function. Let's replace the old version with a new one by pressing the Insert a Cursor button. Now we have more understandable code with comments. I want my app to listen in any port, so let's prompt it. I will replace only the run block of my code. Now let's test the app. In the command line, run python app.py to run the application. I will open the Postman application to test the user's API. Add a GET request and type the endpoint URL. Press send. Great, it works fine. Now let's try to add a new user. Add a post method with endpoint URL. Select body and change a row with JSON option. Enter user data. Click send. And we have a new user added to our inline database. Let's add a user without an email field. I have some typo, let's fix it and try again. Looks like we don't have any validation on input fields. Let's ask Copilot to add some. Add a validation for username, user email, fields, and add a random ID. Copilot has returned a new create user function that includes validations. Let's replace our original create user function. As you can notice, we have two validations for username and for user email. Let's test again and check the validations. Now we get a response with user email is required. Let's add an email field and remove the ID. Now it works as expected. I want to add a validation also to update user request. Now I will do it with comments. I had just begun typing when Copilot suggested some code for me. Just press the tab key to accept the suggestion. Copilot can explain highlighted code. It's very helpful for new developers to understand previously written code. To receive a detailed explanation about adding a new user function, simply type explain and Copilot will provide the necessary information. Would you like to convert the code to JavaScript? No problem, Copilot can assist you with that also. How simple is that? We are getting our code in JavaScript. So after 10 minutes of prompting, we have our completed Python Flask user application. Now let's try to containerize the application to the Docker image. I'm creating a Docker file. Let's ask GitHub Copilot to create a Docker file for us. So Copilot not only generates the Docker file for us, but he's also giving us detailed instructions what we need to do next. Let's try to build the app. So it looks like it's failed. It looks like we don't have the requirements.txt file on our root directory. Let's check. Let's create a requirements.txt file and ask Copilot to create the content. Let's copy it to our file, save and try to build it again. Now it has been completed successfully. I do it locally, so let's ensure the existence of the image. Let's run the app from the Docker image. So we have a fully containerized application. The last step is to create a GitHub action pipeline, and I will do it with GitHub Copilot to test the DevOps capabilities. So let's prompt add a GitHub action for deploying my app to container app. I'll fix it to Azure Container App, and let's try. Unbelievable, we are getting a full pipeline to build an image, push it to the container registry and deploy it to container app. The next step is to create a second service, a product service, and now I will use a Node.js application. Create a new folder for the app, enter the folder and open it in VS Code. To work with Node.js, we need to initialize a package.json and install npm packages. Create a new file called app.js. Open a GitHub Copilot chat and start prompting. Create a Express REST application with data of products, product ID, product name, product price, with CRUD operations, listens on port 8080, and let's give it a try. And boom, we got a second app with some instructions. Let's follow the instructions to install some dependencies. Let's install body parser. It's for JSON convention. And let's insert the code into our app file. Looks great. Now let's try to run the application. Let's test it in Postman. Seems like I have some typo on the endpoint URL. So let's try it again. and send. Now it works and we see the products. Let's add some validation for our post request. So I will write a prompt, add a validation, and let's try. And I have a new generated function. I want to return to the user's Python app and attempt to include some unit tests. It's quite impressive how Copilot can generate an entire class of unit tests. All you have to do is to insert the code into your IDE and run it. To conclude, let's review some of the GitHub Copilot features. Convert comments to code, autofill repetitive code, show code alternatives. One of the latest features is Copilot Voice, which allows you to interact with your IDE using your natural voice. Copilot pull requests, a capability to fill a pull request automatically. And GitHub Copilot CLI that helps you to create a CLI comments. Visit GitHub Copilot for more details and remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Bye and see you in the next episode.